So solve each equation and check the solution. So here we have a binomial equal to 0. So again, if you have something equal to 0, you have to factor it first and then set each of the factors equal to 0. In this case, we have a binomial, and I'm looking at this binomial and I can see that it's probably going to be a difference of squares. So I want to set it up like that. So we have something square minus something square equal to 0. So remember, when you have a difference of squares, and if you can write it like this, so a squared minus b squared, then your answer is going to be a plus b times a minus b. Okay, so that's my goal, to see if I can find a number that if I multiply it by itself, it's going to give me 81, and then a variable that if I multiply it by itself is going to give me t squared. So I can see that 9t is going to work here. 9t times 9t gives me the 81t squared. And then for 64, I'm going to use 8. So 8 times 8 is 64. So if I can write it like this, my formula states then that I'm going to have 9t plus 8 and then 9t minus 8, and again it's equal to 0. So because my binomials are now equal to 0, I have to set each of the factors equal to 0 and solve for the variable. So I get 9t plus 8 equal to 0, and then 9t minus 8 equal to 0. So I'm solving for the variable. I'm going to solve for t here. And you can see then that I have to undo what's being done. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I get 9t is equal to negative 8. And then I divide both sides by 9. And I get t is equal to negative 8/9. Same thing with this one here. I'm trying to solve for t. So I'm going to undo what's being done. So I add 8 to both sides. So I get 9t is equal to 8. Divide both sides by 9. And I get t is equal to a positive 8/9. So we did the first part. We solved the equation. Now we need to check. Okay, so what that means is we have to substitute the negative 8/9 back into the original equation and see if it's a true statement. So we take 81 times negative 8/9 square minus 64 equal to 0. So 81, and if we take negative 8/9 square, remember a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive, and 8 times 8 is 64, and 9 times 9 is 81, and then minus the 64 equal to 0. So any number can be written as a fraction if we put it over 1. And I can see now with these fractions that if I were to multiply, I can cross cancel the 81s. So then I'm left with 64 minus 64 is equal to 0. So now let's check positive 8/9. So we have 81 times a positive 8/9 square minus 64 equal to 0. So again, with this one, a positive times a positive is going to give a positive. So we end up with 64 over 9 times 81 minus 64 equal to 0. And you can see at this point, it's the same thing we were working up here at the top. Excuse me, the bottom here should be 81. Oops. Okay, technical difficulties. This is 81. So you can see how these are going to cancel, and then 64 minus 64 is equal to 0. So then the answer to this problem would be a positive 8/9 and a negative 8/9.